But we have to come to this now. The trial against the man accused of the 2013 murder of UJ student Palesa Madiba has been postponed. Dumsani Mkhwanazi allegedly killed and buried Madiba at his niece Matshidiso Mkhwanazi's house. Her remains were then found nearly 3 years later, and Matshidiso is one of the witnesses that will be called to testify. Our reporter Masego Ratlaga joins me now, of course, to take us through what happened in court. Masego, thank you for your time. I mean, what exactly caused the postponement, or advised that postponement?
Well, Dumelo, to put it simply, he didn't pitch. He didn't pitch in court. Police, when they explained to the family what happened, there's a roll call that happens in prison in the morning when they're supposed to transport you to the different courts. And apparently his name was called and he just didn't come out from inside his cell. We're yet to find out why the police didn't then, or rather the wardens, didn't then go into his cell to look for him. That's probably something that we would need to find out because the investigating officer who had to be the one to explain to the family why he wasn't there was the one who had that bit of explanation. So that's what happened in court today, unfortunately, Dumelo. That family having to deal with yet another delay. As you know, Palesa went missing in August 2013 after visiting her friend Matshidiso Mkhwanazi at her grandmother's house in Soweto and Phiri. She didn't return home after that long weekend, that Women's Month long weekend. They looked for her for 3 years. The Mkhwanazi family opened a restraining order against the Madiba family, saying that they were being harassed. Only for about 2 years and 9 months later, a whistleblower calling the police and saying, this girl that you're looking for from UJ Soweto campus, you will find her remains in a shallow grave behind the back rooms in the house where she was last seen. And Dumsani Mkhwanazi, being Matshidiso Mkhwanazi's uncle, is the one who was arrested. Now, the turn of events here is that Matshidiso will be testifying against her uncle, because for the longest of times she was pleading the fifth and she was supporting her uncle, saying, you know, I left Palesa here when I went to work. She had class at 11, so I left her with my keys. I told her to give the keys to my uncle. But as soon as police were like, okay, your uncle must have been the last person to see Palesa, the family then started to not want to answer many questions.
I mean, this must be a traumatic time for the family, as you mentioned, another delay after so many years of, you know, not only looking for Palesa, but also finding out that unfortunately she had met her untimely passing, and then having to, you know, go through finding the alleged perpetrator, having to find the friend who then now turned into a state witness. It's a lot for the family to take in right now, but we do need this trial to happen. So when will the court then get back into session?
The court is expected to get back into session on the 5th, which is this Thursday. But Dumelo, you know, you're absolutely right. I mean, you can imagine for the mother who basically is sometimes mute because she has no idea what to do and what to think. She felt for a very long time, along with the rest of the family, that they were being let down. Because for them, they always knew that Palesa has to be in that house because that's where she was last seen. Surveillance footage was looked at from UJ Soweto campus. Her student card was, they tried to see the system if she actually clocked in. She never did. So the family sort of always knew. And for them to go through this process where, I mean, 2013 is 7 years ago. For the body to be found after 3 years and an arrest to be made after another 3 years, and now this postponement from someone who knew he had a court date today and whose name was called during roll call in prison and just didn't pitch. We don't know, maybe he's, look, I'll play the devil's advocate and say maybe he's injured in prison or something, but this is just enough for the family. They've had enough. They're hoping that on Thursday when we return, things just start.
Of course, we'll be tracking that story. Thank you so much, Masego, for updating us right here on the rundown.